How you doing, everybody? My name is Dr. Sami Baya. Please welcome back to my YouTube channel. Narcissists. Trump and Zelensky fight. Donald Trump and Zelensky fight. That's the title of this video. Narcissism and power. You know, narcissism is a term which is often used to describe excessive self-love. It can be a double-edged sword in politics. When placed in the context of leadership, narcissism can fuel both the ambition and actions of politicians. Two political figures who have often been accused of exhibiting narcissistic traits are former United States, are actually the President of United States, President Donald Trump, and the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Their respective roles in the world stage, especially during times of high tension, show a compelling juxtaposition of how narcissism can both fuel and hinder political action. Donald Trump's narcissistic traits, let's look at them. Donald Trump, the President of the United States, with his brash personality and outspoken demeanor, is often labeled as a textbook narcissist. Donald Trump has displayed an inflated sense of his own importance, an insatiable need for admiration, and a tendency to disregard the feelings or well-being of others. Now, Trump's leadership, characterized by self-interest and grandiose claims, has been both admired and vilified. His personality often shines through his policies and rhetoric, creating a loyal following while simultaneously inciting widespread criticism. Let's look at Zelensky's rise and narcissistic perceptions. Volodymyr Zelensky, the comedian turned politician, gained global fame through his role in the Ukrainian resistance against Russian aggression. Many saw Zelensky's transformation from an entertainer to a national hero as a story of authenticity and courage. However, critics have noted that his actions often focused on portraying himself as the central figure in Ukraine's resistance, which may reflect certain narcissistic qualities. Volodymyr Zelensky, his steady focus on his image and messaging is central to understanding his approach to leadership. Now, both Donald Trump and Zelensky are masterful performers, understanding the impact of their image and persona on their audiences. Trump's rallies, filled with bombastic rhetoric and self-congratulatory statements, stand in contrast to Zelensky's almost daily broadcasts, where he presents himself as the embodiment of Ukraine's fight for survival. While both use their platform for dramatic effect, their narcissism is often highlighted by the way they present themselves as indispensable leaders in moments of crisis. Crisis leadership is where the narcissistic tendencies of Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky become more pronounced. For Trump, crises like the COVID-19 pandemic, impeachment proceedings, and the storming of the Capitol were opportunities to reinforce his narrative of strength and dominance. Zelensky, on the other hand, amidst the Russian invasion of Ukraine, has used the war to bolster his personal image as a steadfast and determined leader. In both cases, the crises were used not just to manage national affairs, but to solidify the public's perception of their leadership as vital and irreplaceable. One of the hallmark traits of a narcissist is the tendency to aggrandize oneself in the face of challenges. Now, Trump, for instance, has repeatedly positioned himself as the sole figure capable of saving America, often inflating his own role in past successes or portraying failure as a result of external forces rather than personal shortcomings. Zelensky, on the other hand, has emphasized his pivotal role in unifying Ukraine, framing himself as the symbol of resilience and defiance against tyranny. Both men, that is Trump and Zelensky, have at different points used their image to become the face of their nation's struggles. The relationship between narcissism and media manipulation is central to both leaders' political strategies. Trump has long had a contentious relationship with the media, often attacking outlets that do not praise him, while using those that align with his views as platforms for self-promotion. Zelensky similarly has effectively used the global media to his advantage, portraying Ukraine's fight as a moral cause and himself as its leading figure. Narcissistic leaders often use media to curate their image, shaping how they are perceived both at home and abroad. While narcissistic leaders can be effective in galvanizing supporters and drawing attention to their causes, there is an inherent danger in their leadership style. Narcissists are often prone to making decisions based on their own needs for validation and admiration rather than the greater good. Now, Trump's decision making was frequently seen as erratic, driven by personal grievances and a desire to maintain power. Zelensky's decisions, while largely seen as heroic in the context of Ukraine's survival, may also be viewed through a lens of self-interest, as his leadership style has become heavily dependent on his personal brand. Narcissistic leaders often surround themselves with loyalists who reinforce their inflated sense of self-worth. Trump's admiration was notorious for placing individuals who are less likely to challenge his decisions, creating an echo chamber of praise. Zelensky, facing an existential threat from Russia, has found himself in a similar position where his every action and word are framed as vital to Ukraine's survival. Now, this echo chamber not only validates the narcissistic leader, but also makes it difficult for alternative viewpoints or constructive criticism to surface. The narcissism of a leader can significantly impact national unity. In Trump's case, his divisive rhetoric and penchant for playing to his base often alienated large swaths of the American public, creating a polarized environment. Zelensky, despite widespread admiration for his leadership in the war, has faced criticism from certain Ukrainian factions who view his focus on personal branding as distracted from the broader political unity needed to tackle the war. Narcissistic leadership often comes at the expense of cohesive governance. On the international stage, narcissistic leaders may prioritize personal relationships over diplomacy, which can create volatility. Trump's America First policy and his approach to foreign leaders were often marked by a focus on personal loyalty rather than strategic alliances. Zelensky has also navigated international relations with a sharp focus on leveraging his image, sometimes at the expense of broader diplomatic efforts. In both cases, the narcissistic nature of the leaders influences the way they manage foreign affairs. Both Trump and Zelensky have cultivated strong cults of personality. Trump's rallies and larger-than-life presence in the media helped solidify his status as the leader of the true America. Zelensky's heroic status in the face of Russian aggression has similarly elevated him to a near mythical level in the eyes of many Ukrainians and international observers. A narcissistic leader thrives on this adulation, which can be both a tool for control and a vulnerability when the public begins to turn away. The inherent downside of narcissistic leadership is the dangers of overreach. Narcissists often struggle with accepting failure or criticism, leading them to make risky decisions or refuse to back down in the face of adversity. Trump's tenure was marked by overreach, whether it was his handling of the COVID-19 crisis or his refusal to concede after the 2020 election. Now, similarly, Zelensky's insistence on remaining the face of Ukraine's resistance while galvanizing could be seen as a potential obstacle to broader collaboration and governance in the future. Narcissistic leaders excel in manipulating the emotions of their followers. Trump's ability to stir up emotions among his base, whether through fear, anger, or pride, was central to his appeal. Zelensky's speeches, often filled with emotional appeals and calls for unity, have similarly resonated with people around the world. Narcissistic leaders often use emotional manipulation as a way to create a connection with their supporters, turning public sentiments into a powerful political tool. Despite the outward appearance of confidence, narcissists often have a fragile sense of self-worth. Both Trump and Zelensky have displayed signs of insecurity at times. Trump's frequent need for praise and his tendency to lash out when criticized highlight his fragile ego. Zelensky, despite his international acclaim, has also shown moments of vulnerability, particularly when faced with the immense pressure of leading Ukraine during a devastating war. Now, the narcissist's fragile self-image can be a liability when faced with challenges. The success of both Trump and Zelensky is intricately tied to their personal brands. Trump's political rise was largely based on his celebrity status and his image as a businessman, which resonated with a certain segment of the population. Zelensky's rise, likewise, has been closely tied to his personal narrative as a symbol of resistance. However, this over-reliance on personal branding can be dangerous, as it may undermine the broader goals of governance in favor of personal aggrandizement. Although they come from different parts of the world, Trump and Zelensky have occasionally found themselves at odds, particularly over political matters. Trump's involvement in the 2019 Ukraine scandal, in which he allegedly pressured Zelensky to investigate Joe Biden's son, exemplifies the complex and sometimes an antagonistic relationship between the two leaders. Both have narcissistic tendencies that could lead to misunderstandings or conflicts of interests, with each believing their own narrative to be the most important. Narcissistic leaders often rely on their image and charisma to maintain power, but this can only last for so long. Trump's political career shows the challenges of maintaining a narcissistic leadership style in a changing political landscape. Zelensky, on the other hand, faces a different challenge: how to transition from wartime leader to peacetime statesman. Both face the daunting task of navigating the future in a way that doesn't solely rely on their personal brand. The leadership of both Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky illustrates the complex relationship between narcissism and political power. While their narcissistic traits have propelled them to prominence, they also pose significant risks to their country's future stability and unity. Understanding the psychology behind their actions allows for a deeper insight into how narcissistic leaders operate, both domestically and internationally. Now, final thoughts on narcissism in politics is that narcissism in politics is a double-edged sword. Leaders like Trump and Zelensky are capable of inspiring their nations and creating movements that resonate with millions, but their narcissistic tendencies can also create divisions, alienate opposition, and undermine the foundations of democratic governance. As the world continues to evolve, it will be crucial to watch how these leaders navigate their power and whether their narcissism can continue to serve their countries or whether it will eventually become their downfall. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not done so. Please, let's make this video go viral. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not done so. Drop your comment, like this video. Thank you.